Shall we end with the last question?
Yeah, give it to me.
I was going to say, what would it take, and I'm spinning a question that I get asked a lot, and you can ask me the same question, but in a different way. What would it take for you not to believe?
In what?
In mediumship, in psychic ability, maybe in mediumship, if I say in mediumship.
That would be very difficult. If you're talking about belief in an afterlife, then there are times when my faith has wavered. Although mediumistic skills are inherent in the family, and I've grown up seeing so-called dead people, there are times when it's like looking at a blank wall. And without going into too much detail, it can have a sort of a detrimental effect on your emotional life. And your faith does waver. Mine does. So I'm not one who would fly the flag for mediumship and there's a better life beyond death. I'm not sure. And I always quote the Woody Allen and more recently the, what's his name? The guy from the Moons.
Spike Milligan.
Spike Milligan. They were asked the same question, are you afraid of dying? And they both answered, no, but I just don't want to be there when it happens. And that's exactly the way I feel. And I don't believe in the traditional concepts of heaven and hell, but I do think that I've done a lot of things in my past life, this incarnation, and I'm not really sure how many points I have, so I don't know whether it's going up or down, so I'll delay the process of dying. So in answer to your question, I'll always believe in mediumship. It's just that I'm very skeptical of mediums in general. And it is subjective, as I've told you, and we've discussed this. It's in my consciousness, nobody else's. So I know it goes on, and I know it's real. And I'm sure other mediums know it too. So, but what about you? Because you don't believe.
So what would it take? What would it take for me to believe? That's basically the response.
Yeah, to believe.
What would it take for me to believe?
In an afterlife, not when we forget mediumship. Because I don't believe you're a skeptic. I think it's part of your persona, your professionalism.
I think I'm just putting it on.
I think so.
It's all just a game.
We've discussed this, and you've had experiences, I know this, which we won't discuss, which he doesn't tell anybody, but we had to discuss it for the sake of the book. And he made me promise under threat of death that I wouldn't write about it, so I didn't. I respect it.
Yeah, and maybe when you do die and come back and give me messages, that's when I'll believe. But I'm a skeptic in the true sense of the word, in that I'm open-minded and I'm always questioning the evidence. And we've talked about this as well. Too often people say you're a skeptic, which means you're cynical. And that's what people think. They think I'm cynical. And yeah, at the end of the day, a lot of what I put forward, even on Most Haunted, are cynical explanations. And, you know, we've talked about some of the things that you're interested in, and I'm very cynical. Don't even get me started on astrology. But in terms of what would it take for me to believe in the afterlife? Dying.
Yeah.
I'll be absolutely honest. It's maybe an awful thing to say.
If
people are out there, you know, with their beliefs and their religious beliefs, but I think that's what it would take for me, because I know of too many other explanations. Should I have any experiences, for example, being confronted with a relative, a departed relative, or getting a message from a medium, I know of too many other explanations for what I'm being presented with. For other things, like for ghosts, what would it take for me to believe in ghosts, for example? Yeah, if one was standing right in front of me shouting boo, but it was witnessed by somebody else and it was filmed, that would be enough for me. But it would have to be witnessed by somebody else, because, you know, I'd hope that it wasn't my own visual hallucinations playing up. But there
you know, there's a well-known doctor in Southport, retired now. I won't say his name because he's still alive, and he's a healer and he's also a medium. His wife wasn't, and she since passed away. And this guy was a brilliant medium and a very compassionate man. He's no longer in practice. He's a scientific mind, brilliant in academics. He had a wide range of knowledge. And also, there's a guy, one of the innovators of the polygraph, a man called Dr. Alexander Cannon, who was a notable psychiatrist in St. Thomas's Hospital. He had a castle in the Isle of Man. He used to train people. He was an occultist. And he wrote a book on levitation. And when the medical board read it, they said, we can't have a man of your standing writing such dribble. They struck him off. And he appealed against the board, the decision. And in the appeal, he got them to open 2 windows. And he conditioned himself prior to that. He was a yogi master as well. And he levitated. It's well documented. Through one window, round to the other window.
And is it on video?
They reinstated him.
All right.
Well known, and he was a brilliant man, a brilliant mind. And
well, okay. On that note, if you were levitating out of one window back into another, then maybe I believe that.
no, he wouldn't.
But I still probably wouldn't.
He wouldn't.
But I think we're going to have to leave it there because time is up. But I hope you've enjoyed this evening. I hope maybe you'll go away just questioning or thinking a little bit more about various aspects of the paranormal. We've only covered one part tonight, which is the mediumship and psychic part. In the book, we focus on loads of different things. Haunting experiences, we have a huge chapter on. We talk about auras, psychometry, you name it, healing as well, afterlife concepts, everything. And so I encourage you to have a look at that and see how we discuss these other aspects. But all that's left to say, I guess, is thank you very much for coming and for supporting tonight and for being here. And like we say at the end of the book, the truth is out there, but finding it is the difficult part.
And can I have the last word?
Okay.
A few thoughts have just come to me, and I'd like to leave you with them. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Cameron.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.